in areas of green infrastructure, investment, and climate finance. He has worked with several key global institutions. We welcome you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, it works now. Maybe I can come closer to my audience. All right. Would you mind shifting a bit closer? These rows. Come forward. All right, as you settle down, we have about 50 minutes to explore the topic together, which is green economy and sustainable development. You know, yesterday when I ran a similar lab, we went through an exercise where each one of the participants expressed, articulated their experience with climate change. Each one described how they have firsthand experienced the impacts of climate change, either through a project, through their job, through their family livelihoods. Some had family members working on agriculture, how those impacts have translated into loss of livelihood, stress on family, or air pollution impacts, or just mental stress. I was in two minds whether to take the same approach and ask each one of you, do the same, repeat. But I'm assuming you guys chit-chat with each other, you engage, you do network, and you got a sense what happened in that policy lab, at least some of you. So we're going to do something different so that we collectively learn from each other. This lab would not be me giving a monologue to you and you all sleeping. It's going to be you telling each other what we know about policy frameworks, regulations, approaches on the broad topics of green economy, sustainable development, but we're going to narrow it down to climate change, its impact, and how to mitigate and adapt to it. I'm assuming you are familiar with these terms of climate change mitigation, which is reduction in CO2 and other gases, essentially changing or transitioning our energy systems to more green. Yeah? How we consume, how we produce energy, how we consume energy, all has to go green. Essentially, we have to electrify all sectors of economy and green the electricity, by and large. Yeah? And in terms of adaptation and resilience, we need to understand what are the climate hazards, by which I mean heat, cold, cyclone, all those stresses. How we adapt ourselves to those by taking action, by reducing vulnerability, increasing the sea walls, making roads thicker, not letting our livestock out when there are heat stresses, various measures. So the way we're going to run this lab is each one of you will take about a minute or two maximum, so be brief. Think of it as your tweet, all right? It has to be sharp, it has to be short, and understandable so that people start liking or retweeting your tweets, whatever you're going to say here. Yeah? So make it tweet forms, 1 minute or maximum 2. Explain to others if you have worked on any project or if you in your job are already tasked with something which helps either mitigate climate change, that means how the energy is produced and consumed, it's going green or consuming or producing less of it, or in adaptation and resilience in all sectors of economy, from ag to health to education, you name it, or you are in a policy formulation space yourself by contributing through thought leadership, analysis, communication, advocacy, what have you, all right? Typically, I start from this end, but today we're going to start from this end, yeah? Because this is an all-male table, and I don't like it, so this is a punishment to them. We will start from you, sir, in a very nice jacket. You can take the mic and tell everyone any project or assignment or in your experience have you engaged in either mitigation or adaptation resilience activities. Mic is yours. And I'm happy to clarify if the assignment is not clear. But let's hear from people and we will evolve as we go. Please. State your name, which country, and any experience you have on mitigation or adaptation and climate change. Go ahead.
Excuse me, the question?
So the question is, have you worked on any project assignment which remotely deals with either mitigation to climate change or resilience to climate change?
Okay.
State your name, your country, and this question.
Thank you for the question. My name is Pumalai Silakum. I'm from Laos. I work Lao Youth Union. I work with about youth. For the project, our office do about that youth to communicate and build the youth in all country in Lao PDR. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're working on communication approaches, advocacy approaches, if I understood you correctly.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Person behind you.
Thank you. My name is Siddhant. I'm a senior research associate at NatStrat. One project in this regard on the climate side of things that I've worked on is that it's a more local project in my residential area where I stay. I was trying to understand what is the rainwater harvesting system that the building utilizes essentially. And I met the people who operate the rainwater harvesting system to try and understand what are the issues. And what I realized is that there were some technical things which prevented maximization of collection of rainwater, which I realized, and then I essentially drafted a short paper, presented it.
Example, thanks for sharing it. This is an example of where you look at your surroundings, see what's happening, try to make it better, and actually achieve something tangible. You know, RWAs are resident welfare associations which manage these gated communities in all our countries. And now by regulation, each RWA has to work on rainwater harvesting. Otherwise, there is so much runoff of the rainwater that could be utilized to recharge our aquifers. But typically the problem is people think it's just digging a well. Digging a path, you know, water will go and it will reach the aquifer. Normally it doesn't, and it's a science and art by which you do all that. Please.
Thank you. My name is Ashutosh Patel. I'm a lawyer and an international affairs analyst from Bangalore. And this is more of a personal experience because I come from a coastal town in the province of Karnataka here, where we have witnessed the direct impact of climate change, especially with the fishing community, because fishing is such a major profession here, among livelihoods for the people, right? And the rising sea levels and as well as the sea erosion. And this is specific to do with the traditional fishermen who don't have access to capital when compared to the commercial fishermen, right? So, and the every year, or whenever the UNFCCC comes with the report, we see the rising sea level being a major threat, not just to the small island states, but also the coastal cities in India. So, and have witnessed the impact of what it has made on the ground in terms of how their livelihoods were destroyed, and because of lack of awareness. So I tried to, again, on the part of advocacy, to talk to the government, the state government, to do something in terms of building some infrastructure to protect the communities who don't have the capital to go for large-scale fishing, and how climate change would devastate their livelihoods totally. So yes, that's what my role is.
Thank you. Thanks. Climate change is going to disproportionately and negatively impact smallholder farmers, small fishers, and small herders, because they don't have the social safety nets. They don't have savings typically. And any impact which takes them backward in their savings or extra expenditure takes them into debt trap. And in majority of developing countries, once you are in debt trap, it's very difficult to bring you back, spring back into normal life. And as we were discussing yesterday, climate change impacts are bringing us to a new normal where hazards, meaning heat, excessive rainfall, hurricane, tornado, whatever, are going to happen much more frequently, much more severely, and multi-hazard is going to hit the same lives, livestocks, physical assets. Where there were no rains before, it's flooding now. Where there were no droughts before, there are droughts now, and in the same place you would have multiple hazards hitting the same asset over and over again. And from a policy learning perspective, you should all remember just simple triangle, which is climate hazards, your exposure to these hazards, and your vulnerability. Vulnerability is, are you poor, you don't have social safety nets, you have weak infrastructure, and exposure is your lives are dependent on more and more exposure to these hazards. That means you have to go out and earn your livelihood, you're a farmer, your whole income is outside, You're not just sitting on the computer. So your exposure to these hazards is more. So you put this triangle together. In any policy framework or any policy note you want to write on impacts of climate change and adaptation and resilience, just remember this triangle. Hazard, exposure, vulnerability, a combination of that is equal to climate risk. And essentially what policy making is trying to do is reduce the climate risk to lives, livelihoods, and physical assets. Again, three things. Very easy to remember: hazard, exposure, vulnerability, lives, livelihoods, and physical assets. If you put them together, you have a brilliant policy note. You have a brilliant policy. All right. Okay, let's keep going.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Haris Adwa. I'm a student from Brunei Darussalam. For my case, since I'm a student, recently my school has created a greener initiative, creating a competition for the students, where basically students were assigned to create art sculpture as well as media documentation regarding any advocacy, or to spread awareness regarding on their perspective about sustainable development as well as a greener society. And for my team, we have won first place as we advocated for creating an art sculpture of the danger of rising sea levels. We have utilized and upcycled waste materials into something that is more appealing through arts. And for our media documentation, we have also explained on how these representations of the art, which was recycled by the waste materials, can represent a very big meaning about the ocean and also the rising sea levels. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Hello, I'm Muhammad Mikdam from Bunda Darussalam. So for me, since we have our own land that we turned into a recreation park, so that time we start to realize that we did the deforestation even in our area. So the only solution that we did, we tried to invite more students and also from many communities, volunteers, to replanting more trees and trees to stop deforestation. That's all.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tinton. I'm honored to represent from Myanmar. And I want to talk about I have one project. I have with the youth last say about projects, organizing tree planting campaign, small community green as and awareness activity on reducing single-use plastic. And this process taught me how you can lead real climate action and inspire me to promote collaboration across Eastern and India for a greener future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing nature-based solutions. This category of solutions, which involves from planting trees to rehabilitation of corals to mangroves and all the rest, typically we bucket them together as nature-based solutions. The other thing which this group has highlighted is how to use communication and advocacy to mobilize large-scale effort. And we can bucket all that into behavioral change aspect. Because of the pace of transition we want, we need everyone to adopt these practices and do their bit. And in policy making, behavioral change is typically an aspect which policymakers tend to put on the back burner. Typically it becomes financial solution, technological solution, and institutional solution. The behavioral change aspect is typically ignored, and that should be made forefront in policy making and policy thinking. Otherwise, change doesn't happen. You would have policies which would look good on files, may have good announcements, but people won't adopt those things. With that, let's start here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Chavi Vashish from Chintan Research Foundation. Though not directly related to climate change, I have two projects that I have worked on. One on the aspects of civil nuclear agreements in Southeast Asia. Now, this is not a climate change directly, but an alternative source of energy, and how this has a huge cost, but also in the long run, a potential hazard is there. And second, I worked on the impact of COVID-19 and its disproportionate impact on women. So in climate change also, we see that women are disproportionately more effective and they bear the burden of addressing the risks that are attached to it. So thank you.
Thanks for raising this important issue, Chavi, which is, on one side, half of the population, the females, will be disproportionately and hardest hit by the impacts of climate change. But on the solution side, whether it's new energy, which is renewable energy, green transportation, even nuclear, most of these solutions are hardcore engineering technical solutions, and these industries are typically male dominated. If you look at the workforce, even start from the top CEOs. Can anyone remember a female CEO of an energy company? There's hardly one or two. Female secretaries or head of bureaucracies of these energy ministries, only few. You look at the workforce, it's males, 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 males. So think of this as a policy problem. They're going to be hit hardest, and in terms of opportunity, they would be left behind unless we make concerted effort in policy making so that they are given extra allocation of resources for skilling, and through various kind of policy pronouncement, even through reservation, are brought into this agenda of new opportunities, they would be left behind. So this is a major challenge. And in this, both males and females have to aggressively move forward. So it's not only a female problem that they have to fight for their rights. Same applies to elderly, children, because they're going to be disproportionately and severely hit. Yeah? So unless we think specifically, it's going to worsen the problem. Yusuf.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark. I am the co-founder of a venture called Dry Soil Philippines in the Philippines. So what we do is we work with different non-government organizations to create community-driven, sustainable, off-grid, renewable energy solutions for rural communities in the Philippines. Because Philippines is an archipelago, so there's a lot of islands who don't have enough infrastructure and access to energy and electricity. So one of our recent projects is we work with a rural community to build a solar lighting infrastructure so that they have access to electricity. And aside from that, we also train women and youth to become what we call solar champions or solar scholars, so that we can eventually turn over the project and they can maintain the solutions or the project themselves. Another project that we have is we work with rural clinics who don't have access to electricity by developing a solar-powered medical backpacks or boxes. So it provides electricity to them because there's a lot of medical equipments that need electricity to be powered or to work. So we provide electricity to them so that they can continue providing care to their patients.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing forward this issue of energy access. Typically, we think of big energy transitions from coal to renewable. There are 800 million people, 800, who don't have access to electricity globally. The number was 1.2 billion, it has come down, good, but still 800. Can you imagine a day in your life without electricity? Just imagine, without your phone, without Wi-Fi, without lights. It's very difficult to imagine, but 800 million people. In our region, in Asia, this number is lower, but still it hits 100 million people without access to electricity. And we can solve both for climate and the energy access issues of the solutions you're talking about. Decentralized energy solutions. Solar is most economical there, but there are other solutions. You couple it with batteries, you have 24/7 electricity and various others.
Hi everyone, Savadi from Laos. My name is Sunisa Kamunkun or Kitty. My experience spans roles in diverse backgrounds from health policy, social entrepreneurship, and now currently in energy sector. I'm working for Laos, Australia Sustainable Energy Partnership.
Brilliant.
So our activity work for two work streams. First one is energy sector planning, and the second one is energy transition. The first one, energy sector planning, we support the government of Laos to amend the electricity law. We build the capacity improvement. We also promote in energy resilience. For the energy transition, we support the technical assistance in rooftop solar, in green hydrogen, and pump hydro energy storage. One thing, we implement 17 activities, but in each activity, the most important thing is we integrate the considerations of JC and DRRCC into each activities. DRRCC stands for Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change. And from my experience, one thing that I really want to drive for my country is DRRCC is not yet prioritized in my country in the Lao regulation at all. Because DRCC gives you the keyword of energy resilience. Resilience is not about how you can plan the proactive mitigation plan, but it's about how can you be recovered from the disruption, from the natural hazards and climate change. And nice to meet you all. That's for me. Thank you.
Thanks for giving that example. Very important. You please.
Hello everyone. My name is Pierre. I am a data and AI engineer intern. I'm from Cambodia. When talking about the sustainable and related to my climate change, it reminds me when I doing one project called related to a sensor for one competition, World Robotic Olympiad, because my background more into like robotics. So the project that I do is to create a prototype that use the piezo sensor that combined together by generated from food stuff into electrical energy. So we hope that those prototypes can be a part of the solutions beside more the big solution like solar panel and wind energy. So that's a new initiative. I hope the big organization take that initiative into a new solution as well. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for talking about innovations and startups here. From a policy perspective, this emergence of AI for energy and climate changes the landscape in a big, big way. Think of it this, that in the United States, now the data center companies are going to put big, big data centers for the large compute AI requires. They are bringing back nuclear power plants because they need uninterrupted electricity. In developing countries, we want these data centers, the AI compute ability in-house. That means we would be sending our electrons to these data centers, and there would be a policy choice to send electricity to the people who don't have access to electricity, or for economic growth, you want to divert that electricity towards these data centers. In sum, you would need much more electricity that you earlier planned for. Then your choice is burn more coal, go into nuclear, or bring more renewable energy electricity. And this is the hard choice for policymakers as they entertain these decisions on a daily basis.
Hello, my name is Paintin from Cambodia. I'm a researcher, so my interest is on geopolitical analysis, but oftentimes I have attended dialogue on green transition and sustainable development. Last month I went to Korea and we discussed their policy on Green New Deal. So I visit the Institutes of Global Climate Funds and I see their practice on green energy, and I come back and discuss with my fellow on how we can interpret or incorporate it into our policy dialogue and discussions. And I also have some experience in working with the Embassy of China in the Kingdom of Cambodia on how we can incorporate Chinese technique on fish and rice corridor into sustainable rice cultivating and fish farming, so that oftentimes my experience is not from the ground up, but more of a policy dialogue and how we can share ideas with each other on a forum like that. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing China in this discussion. So think of this, of all the renewable energy components, the solar panels, the wind power blades, the battery which runs the EV, or the electrolyzer which produces green hydrogen or hydrogen, 80 to 90% of that is produced in China. All the critical minerals which are required to produce these components, they have 60% under their ownership or rights to extract, and 90% refining capability. Single country. So you could think of the dependencies, the challenges, the economic and political security challenges, countries which are dependent, and if there is any disruption in supply chains, which we have had recent examples, where the tap on magnets, which are used for EVs, were little tightened, and whole of automobile industry went through a crisis. They were about to shut down the assembly lines because these rare earth magnets were put to short supply. So in your line of work, start thinking of supply chain resilience as we think about climate resilience, because you need technology, solutions, and where they come from as you support your policymakers or you yourself become policymakers. With that, let me invite you.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ahlam Noval Mahendra. You can call me Ahlam and I'm from Indonesia. So basically, I'm focusing on waste management solution Because in my province, West Java, Indonesia, based on data from National Waste Management System state that my province produces 4.5 million tons of waste annually. So I try to make a youth community to tackle this problem and having a solution to implement Takakura composting and maggot bioconversation to reduce waste in West Java actually. And I try also, because I have a background in science and also content creator, I try to make a content related to science, environment, chemistry to make it more understandable for everyone. So at the end, I successfully collaborated with a local government and NGO to giving education to local people in Bandung City. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, your turn.
Hi everyone, my name is Anissa from Indonesia and I am an educational content creator and also communication officer at a government office. One of project that I've worked on was making a hashtag online movement on social media called hashtag Less Waste Squad. That hashtag is a movement that invite people to post their action, especially sustainability support or environmental friendly habit that they do in a daily basis. For example, if you guys want to go to the shopping area, you bring the shopping bag, you put the hashtag under your story and share to everyone so it can inspire others to do the same. And by this movement, I've got a lot of reaction from them that they said that this movement finally making them realize that they are not alone to talk about climate change issues, because sometimes for young generation talking about climate change issues look like very serious, like what do you can you more not talking about the formal things like high level issues for like that, but by this movement they realize that this is really close with our daily activities. So that's what I'm doing with my friends. Thank you.
Thank you. A two-hander for her. I think what you're doing is exactly the way we should approach it. Break down this complex mega problem transition into what we can do, related to solutions. Once I had a boss in Asian Development Bank who said, turning waste into gold. And that's what is happening now from CBG plants, biogas plants, various things where you are actually making money out of managing waste. So it's not just waste. But what you're doing is incredibly important, which brings us to this behavioral change aspect. And as policymakers, as you grow in your profession, think about behavioral change as a critical aspect of policymaking and its implementation. I can't overemphasize this. This is so important and normally forgotten.
Hi, good morning. I'm Yulin, also known as Jasmine from Malaysia.
And hi, Jasmine.
I've been doing research in the parliamentary office for my constituency under the MP. And one problem in one part of Malaysia is Penang. It's actually an island. And we used to give out subsidies and a lot of subsidies to the fishermen to ensure that they have a good livelihood and can continue fishing, because there are bad seasons and good seasons. But adapting to the current climate issue, there's too much of overfishing, and I think it's a bit overconsumed on fisheries. So we, during my time in the research position, we restructured the subsidy plan to reduce on the fuel subsidies so that they can have more options, more than just fishing, when it comes to their livelihood, so they have diversify their own options. And also we encourage them and have, I would say, capacity building sessions for them to encourage them to use sustainable gears when it comes to fishing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Please.
Hi everyone, this is my Freddy from Malaysia, Sihabudin, but you can call me Frey, coming from Indonesia. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Asean.
My section in your city much more expensive. Same thing with our packages mainly. It still had options to geographically isolate air services. That's it. Thank you.
And in marine ecosystem, this is just creating havoc. you go to any beach, the first thing will come to you is not a turtle.
We sustain universities in Taiwan. I'll discuss briefly about the circular economy model there. So they have something called pay as you throw scheme. So if you're generating waste, you'll have to pay for it, and they also incentivize if you're not generating waste. So these people are quite obsessed with tea. So if you go to a tea shop there, and if you're carrying your own mug, so they might give you a discount of 5-7 NTD. And then they're also trying to nudge industries there in order to ensure that they also generate less waste. So there's significant emphasis on clear labeling. So you need to give proper space to labeling whether your product is renewable, decomposable, or it's been made from recyclable things. And another important thing that I noticed there, that waste collection there is, something interesting that I noticed there is people from good families are involved in waste collection. That is not seen as taboo. That is not seen as
Waste
something.
is gold. You
Exactly.
get money out of it.
And it's highly remunerative there as well. If you collect waste and give to the recycling unit, it's highly. So I was simply amazed by this model, and let's see whether I'll be able to avail that funding or not.
Thank you. Good luck for that. Please. Here. Let's try to be brief so that we get chance to everyone.
Okay. So, Sabaidi, my name is Sai Sarabusulinyong. I'm a political student at National University of Laos. So, when I was in Laos, I had to organize multiple workshops, but mostly it's about gender equality awareness. But every time we have a coffee break or lunchtime, we always set a vegan lunchtime because we try our best to avoid the meat industry, because meat industry is one of the biggest reasons for the climate change nowadays. Yes.
Thank you. So here's my request to you all for the next 10-15 minutes is to turn your phones upside down, like just flip them. Best thing you can give to anyone is your attention. It's very precious, and let's give it to our fellow people. All right?
Hello, I'm Lakshmi Priya Vijayan. I'm a PhD scholar at Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Karnataka. So I come from the state of Kerala. So we have a project called Harita Karma Sena, where I come from the state of Kerala. So we have a project called Harita Karma Sena, where levels, all the local.
Hi everyone, I'm Gitanjali. I teach at OP Jindal Global University. So during the COVID period, my mother started this initiative. What she did is she started collecting vegetable, fruit and tea leaves waste. And on our terrace, we started making humus. And after we started making humus, we were able to make pesticide-free, we were able to grow vegetables and fruit. And I don't know if all of you can see, but this is one of the pictures. My mother not only hired Bengali community help who were working in India, specifically in Delhi, and those ladies, the money which they made, after they, worked there, they were able to build roofs. Earlier, they used to have asbestos roofs, and during the summer, the asbestos would hit the heat so much, the house would get hot. So now, with that money, they are able to have more comfortable houses. So that's
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
This is a movement which is happening in urban areas where many of our elders are encouraging the whole family to get into composting, growing farm or little vegetables within the house, and using this as an encouragement not just to address environmental issues but just to be healthy. Because you go to Whole Foods and pay twice the price to get the same thing which you can grow in your own backyard. With that, let me invite you.
So hello everyone, I am Siddhant and I am associated to University of Delhi. And I would like to, in this debate, I would like to bring in from an academic perspective, because I think academic spaces like universities and college, they too can play a very important role in inculcating this sense of sustainability amongst the students at the very primitive level. And in this regard, it is in the light of the new education policy, wherein we have brought certain new papers like sustainable ecotourism and entrepreneurship into our curriculum, and wherein we tell the students that the sustainability and entrepreneurship, they can go hand in hand. And while I was discussing this paper with my students in last to last semester, I came across a very interesting report which I might share in the WhatsApp group as well, about a foundation called Mishul Foundation, which is working to establish certain eco-friendly or responsible tourism practices in the Coral Triangle, wherein which was earlier severely affected by practices like illegal fishing practices, and the communities, they went there, they explained them the importance of responsible tourism and how can they benefit out of it. So they have explained the possibilities of parallel economic setup out of responsible tourism. So I shared this report with my students, and this is a way where we academicians can contribute to.
Thanks for highlighting that. Thank you. Please.
Hello everyone, my name is Siddhendra Sisodia. I am a PhD scholar in Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, India. So I just want to share my personal experience from Varanasi itself. During my graduation days, I was working with one of the local NGO under the Namami Gange project, and we used to go to the ghats of Varanasi to spread the awareness about the sustainable use of soaps and all the agarbattis and all that, so that we can clean the Ganga. And what the major factor and major thing I realized when I was working there is that Varanasi is one of the ancient and old cities, and the drainage system there is very old. It was established by the colonial, British Empire, and there is a overcrowded and overburdened drainage system is leading to a floods-like situation, and also it is leading to a soil erosion, in which one of the report from BHU, it was published that it may lead to a damage of the ancient ghats and the temple. So yeah, I believe that community-led approach is very necessary in order to develop a sustainable approach towards the environment and also towards the rivers and all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. You remind me of a African saying which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And for challenges like climate change, we need to go together and fast at the same time. With that, we have like a couple of minutes. They're scaring me to close it. But we're going to cover this. You please.
Namaskar. My name is Hien. I'm from Vietnam, and I work as a researcher in Vietnam Academy of Social Science. In my point of view, I can see how the climate change can affect our life. In Vietnam, before 8 years, we have around 10 storms. But right now, 8 years, we have around 20 storms a year. So, and it's become stronger and longer. As we are here in Goa, I can see the climate also same in my country. It's rainy and humid. And we cannot go out since we are here in 3 days. So I see the climate change is not happening in my country. It's happening in every country in the world. So I think we need joining hand to respond to the climate change. A country has must transform the development model, reduce the emission, and convert resources to the renewable resources, and aim for the inclusive growth. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And a big round of applause for all of you. I think you guys are a very inspiring bunch, I can tell you. When I was in your age bracket, I was not doing anything related to climate change. I was just having fun. But each one of you have done something which is closely associated with either mitigation or adaptation. You're contributing through academics, through your startups, through mobilization efforts, through advocacy, which is all the tools we need to have a healthy policy toolkit, rightly implemented, fully resourced to get a handle on climate change, both for the transition, for the green economy, sustainable development, and to adapt and be resilient to climate change. So let's close this session with that, and I'm sure you're going to scale up your efforts and hope to meet you soon somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the engaging session and the delegates for your active participation. We now break for lunch, and I request all of you to assemble for your